Lesson 2. Statistical hypotheses, concept, types, null and alternative, and directional and non-directional. The fundamentals of hypothesis testing. When conducting scientific research, typically, there is some known information, perhaps from some past work, or a long-accepted idea. We want to test whether this claim is believable. This is the basic idea behind a hypothesis test. State what we think is true. Quantify how confident we are about our claim. Use sample statistics to make inferences about population parameters. For example, a study tells us that the expected average level of psychological resilience in cancer patients is low. However, after researching the same topic, you found moderate psychological resilience. Should you reject the known or accepted information in favor of your results? How confident are you in your estimate? At what point can you say that there is enough evidence to reject the known information and support your alternative assumption? How far can the sample mean be from the known mean before we reject the hypothesis? Hypothesis, a statement predicting the relationship between two or more observable attributes. Not all hypotheses are derived directly from theories. We can generate hypotheses in many ways, from theories, observations, or intuition. The greatest source of hypotheses is probably professional or scholarly literature. Definition: a hypothesis is a claim or statement about a characteristic of a population that is of interest to us. A hypothesis test is a way for us to use our sample statistics to test a specific claim. Types of hypotheses. The null hypothesis. The null hypothesis always states that nothing is going on, there is no difference, no relationship, no treatment effect, etc. H0, X equals Y. The null hypothesis is a statement about the value of a population parameter, such as the population mean, mu, or the population proportion, p. It contains the condition of equality, and is denoted as H0, H0. The alternate hypothesis states that there is a difference. H1, X not equal to Y, non-directional. H1, X greater than Y or ha, X less than Y, directional. The alternative hypothesis is the claim to be tested, the opposite of the null hypothesis. It contains the value of the parameter that we consider plausible and is denoted as H1. Examples of formulating the null and alternative hypotheses. Effect of psychotherapy on depression. H. Psychotherapy does not affect the level of depression in patients. H. Psychotherapy affects the level of depression in patients. Relationship between anxiety and academic achievement. H. There is no relationship between academic anxiety levels and student achievement. H. There is a relationship between academic anxiety levels and students' academic achievement. Three. The hypothesis testing steps. Define the problem. The research question is presented, which includes the research variables and ends with a question mark. Formulate the hypotheses. Both null and alternative hypotheses are formulated. Statistical operations. In this step, the appropriate statistical treatment for the hypothesis and the type of variables is determined, relying on the SPSS output from tables. Make a decision. Based on the results of the previous step, we accept or reject the null hypothesis depending on the significance value, SIG. Interpretation. The issue presented in the first step is answered here. Important note: the null hypothesis is tested for acceptance or rejection, and it is also called the statistical hypothesis.